All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and this is Bannerlord related. This is untraveled territory for me here. We are going to load up a new campaign with a new overhaul mod, Rise of the Rhodoks. Of course, Jarl Snow is a regular visitor both on the Discord and the channel, and I've got to say, it's really interesting to see what he's done here. I've seen just a few minutes of play with this campaign, a trailer, so to speak, and harkens back to the original Mount and Blade here. Now, the music's blaring. We'll have to start a sandbox here, I think, to override that. We're going to play this with nightmare sails, though, as if this wasn't enough stimulation and a new experience for you. I encourage you guys all to get off the sofa if you're watching, or the chair you're sitting in, and watch this while you're standing on your head, because that's how this is going to feel to me as well as you guys here as we play. Choose our character culture. I don't see him. Here we go. As we try out the Rhodoks, right? These guys, I don't know much about Mount and Blade. I did not play the original. So the only thing I know is that they were kind of a Valandian-ish culture, and I think they... says right here, they fought for their independence. So in we go. Now we're going to play a pikeman. We're going to play a crossbow pikeman. It's probably rather cliched for their kingdom, but it makes sense, right? And that's probably the strengths of the Rhodoks here. I don't know anything about this mod other than it's quite dynamic, right? We've heard quite a bit already from the community. The community is pretty buzzy about it, and I think we're just going to choose a random looking kind of badass warlord here. And I think we want to be short, right? My instinct initially is just to be short. That way we're hit less by spears and shit like that. We'll be a stocky short fella here, ready to wreck shop on cavalry. Now there's tons of changes with this mod, right down to the artwork. And one of the things that I've been made aware of is that pole arms have been improved, which is a very necessary change to Bannerlord. I mean, not necessary so much, and it's a very welcomed change. I do think it would be helpful to the base game, because the pole arms that are part of the base game are really bad. The bottom line is, like, your Valandian pikeman is an awful tier 5 unit, right? I'd rather have 2 tier 4 swordsmen. Or I'd rather have a tier 4 swordsman than 2 pikemen, one-handed, and crossbow. I think that makes sense. So I'm eager to see what the polearm looks like here. We're going to have our short, squat polearm dude with one eye with the dog bowl over the top of his head. And let's see here. Polearm and athletics, right? That's what we want. And we're going to run a 40-year-old. This gives us a few more perks. The women dig us because we're experienced and we already have, some financial equity. And there's no crossbow? Here we go. There we go. Something like that. And let's do some green, even though it kind of looks like Botania. I'm aware there are other mods that you can use. In fact, Jarl Snow's video showing the Rhodoks, he had all kinds of color palettes. You guys can always put recommendations in the video description, in the comments. But we're going to be RHODOK. Enter our name here. Be RHODOK the Rhodok. We're experimenting with some mods, but I'm always leery of adding like 12, 15, 18 new mods and completely altering things that are already altered, especially with this campaign where there's already significant changes, right? So we're going to run a hardest difficulty and nightmare sails, but we're going to turn off player death here for the main character. We don't need our guy getting killed 20 minutes into it and having to waste all of that content. And holy shit, I almost ran right into a bunch of looters right outside the gates. 28 looters. What are you doing to us, Jarl Snow? If you don't know anything about nightmare sails too, it's essentially a mod created for dipshits like me who've played too much, right? This is designed to make Bannerlord as hard as possible, right? Hence the name. You're not supposed to have good dreams with this mod. You're supposed to have nightmares, right? There's high-end units. In fact, one of them, Forest Lord. I remember this from our other playthrough. Look at this guy, right? This is a tier 6 bandit. Yeah, good luck taking the hideout that he's in, right? You're going to get wrecked. Now, we're still looking for companions, like a normal campaign at this stage, right? We're looking... Rhodok veteran spearman. We need money, right? So right away here, we're going to strip naked and dance in the city. See if anybody will pay us. And more precisely, we're doing this because we're not going to use stealth. This is an automatic Call it an exploit if you will, but it's an automatic thing I do in campaigns now. In the early going, money is so rare, so essential that I just don't care, right? We're going to shake our wiener out there for everybody to see. And can we get... Is there a horse? So our character is going to ride on foot here. Let's see. Let's take a peek here. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do this here. Just in case we get a crash. We are running a variety of different mods that come with this. Our main character, he's on a horse, but I don't know how much we're going to ride a horse in this campaign. We're going to probably be on foot a lot, so we might change some of these, of course, and I'm probably going to do considerable editing in this campaign as well. Now let's keep punching. Let's make sure we punch our steward and medicine. It's always hard to decide, especially with a mod like this, how to spec our character. I know we want to do some athleticism. Probably kind of going to spread it around here initially because we want to get to these extra perk skills, right? The plus control, plus endurance. I don't know any campaign where I'm not going to have 180 athleticism, especially with siege. We're going to be able to do siege even with nightmare sales and still experience a high level of success, or at least a level of success. Recently, we had one of the hardest sieges I've ever been in a fairly routine siege in nightmare sales, and it was brutal hard. And these guys, I don't know anything about the troops here. Is this a noble unit? It looks like it. Tier 6. So we've got a tier 6 crossbow in our army here. And I know nothing about it other than that's the most bolts I've ever seen in a single stack, right? And these guys look badass. And you know what? These guys are fucking mariners. Huh. So the RHODOK tier 6 line, which I think that's what I'm looking at here. It's a noble line, is a mariner. Even their tier 2. So, again, without knowing that much about it, I would say we want to get on the water fairly early on in this campaign. We're probably going to wreck dirt on ocean battles. Now, looters, right, not only are they huge parties here, but I don't know if we can handle 29. This is running from somebody else, but there you go, right? Looters, slinger, and shit like that. Let's take a peek here. This is not your grandmother's version of Bannerlord, right? This guy's a tier 3 looter. That guy's stronger than anybody in our force, so I'm not sure I want to face him unless we have a few more troops here, which means going over the minimum, right? We're basically already pushing the envelope early on in this campaign because we're going to get a deserter every day. The deserter check every 24 hours, give or take. Well, we don't need these lords taking all our spoils either. We definitely need to fight some looters. It's part of the normal progression of a campaign. Oh, shit. And we don't want to fight deserters. Fuck. So deserters are leftovers usually, unless they're programmed into this campaign. These are usually remnants from a big battle, right? The Valandians, this guy's on us too. From the Valandians and the Rhodoks. In fact, let's orient ourselves here. Belucan. Is this a new city? It seems... Is this Galend, maybe? I vaguely remember this part of the map. There's Charos, Sargat. So I think this is Galend. And maybe it's Jakulan. Are these the two cities that we've taken over? Of course, the names are different. And it looks like we start off at war, or more accurately, the Rhodoks start off at war with Valandia, which I think that's historically accurate, right? There's their troops. Well, you know what? I'm not part of them, so I'm not even worried about the Rhodoks. We're worried about surviving here. I've got 2 grand, so we can pay for our forces for a few days. I want a companion. Let's see. We need to go to town, and we're running. Straight running from deserters. Yikes. Now there are multiple coming after us. We might get captured here right away. Yikes. Let's load up. Let's be willing to go over the minimum. Let's make sure we've got some food. We've got to keep our morale high. We've got a nice variety of food. At least we've got a little bit of food. That's going to be essential, right, to keep our troops paid. And at least we sold our shit at the beginning here. So we at least have a little bit of money. But we have to fight these battles. And as much as I want protection from these lords, we got to, our training wheels have to come off here. We're going to have to fight these deserters on our own. Now, they're running from us. They're running from us? Or are they running from this guy? Yeah, they're not running. These guys are coming right at us. What do they have here? Mariner, mercenary, levy, crossbow, banner knight, Valandian knight. Seems like Risk. Risk is my middle name. And now they're running from the garrison. No, don't run. And they're favored to win. Yikes. All right, well. It's Nightmare. It's not called Nightmare Sales for no reason. Let's make sure we're on the hardest difficulty, and in we go. So our character, at least we'll be able to lance some guys. And we'll be able to... God, there's no cover here either, right? When you're facing some cavalry, you want to have a little bit of cover. And ask and you shall receive. That'll work. We got a little bit of cover right here. We're going to tuck in the trees here. And, you know, when you're playing Nightmare Sales, you use every single advantage conceivable. We don't even have shields here. Our tier 1 guys have scythes and stuff like that. That's not going to work very well against high-end units. I hope they don't have a lot of archers. If they do, we're probably cooked. Now, we have pikes, right? There's some guys with pikes. So, and scythes, but buckle up, right? This is liable to be very difficult. 8, and they have 7 archers, right? So anytime in a situation like this when they have archers, one thing you can do for sure is try to isolate some of their units. They have 5 cavalry coming in, so let's slow their roll down so they don't just charge our lads here, right? To help slow their roll, I'm just going to get in here. I don't know if anybody else has a shield besides us, right? So let's just stand here and let them, you know, sort of break themselves on our shield. And then they have archers. They got 7 archers. Now they're gonna run me down here. I gotta watch behind I gotta watch my 6 here. I've got like 12 riding skill or something. And they're on me too. This is a problem. I do want to attract, you know, the archers, right? The archers would be nice for me to draw some fire. Try to pull those guys in here a little bit. But we can't, I also can't just distract the whole time. Now I'm seeing bolts and shit flying through the wilderness. They're definitely shooting. Our crossbow guys are firing away, but I don't know how effective that's going to be against these troops. And oh shit, I can't switch to my spear. I just tried, and it would not do anything. You know what that tells you? That tells you my shield is, or my spear is only usable on foot, which I don't know. I don't know if I've ever experienced that before. Damn, and I got drilled. I tried to swing my sword once, and I got mauled. Now, Cav is attacking in here. This is a problem, and I can't swing my spear. I did 2. I did 2 damage to the horse. That is not going to cut it. Let's draw some attention here. Let's call them names. And there's some brutal knight coming against me. And what this feels like is true hell mode here. I'm a Bonner. My character got mangled. Now, what do we have here? We got a guy with a gigantic spear. Well, let's use our spear then. Have some of this. We got knocked into the underworld there. And this guy's got no armor. He's got a raggedy little headpiece on. Shoot these guys. I'll draw them this way. You guys shoot them. I mean, that's what we're going to have to do in this campaign. We're going to have to use any technique we can. I tried to duck. I don't know if he can duck. And I got a slinger now. This is not good. Of course, we still have knights back here wrecking our shit. And you know what you do here? Everybody charges and holds fire. At least this way, every single guy comes up at once. Might makes right, especially when there's 6, 7 guys attacking them. You little bitch-ass knight. I kicked you for 2. How do you like some of that? Give him a beat down here. It's a peasant revolt. Rhodoks style. You bitch-ass knights. All right, now we can fire. What do we got? We got some slingers here. Everybody broke out their little sling bag. Duck. Yeah, keep your head down, lads. And it is Nightmare Sales, to be sure. We're going to suffer serious losses in every battle here. So you can count on some editing in this campaign. Maybe we'll give you a little taste of the early going here. But you also don't need to watch for 2 hours while we try to level up this little band of peasants. These guys are getting one shot here by high-end mercenaries. That's what deserters are, basically, is they're mercenaries that have decided to hell with fighting for some king here. We're going to go make some money and kill people for our own here, right? And I got slingers. This is wild, man. Come on, lads. Find the sweet spot. I'm gonna poke the shit out of you, dude. Guy got smoked. And if we do win this, it's going to be razor close. Close on him. I got your ass now. Our characters are not strong. Right? I don't know what else to say. Poke his ass. He got a really long spear. And no athleticism. We might lose to this guy here. It's one guy who's just ragdolling our whole force. And our slings are not accurate here. I think you charge. I was going to say, I think pretty soon we just charge. All right. A Pyrrhic victory in battle number 1, 15 deaths. Right now, the deserters, the good news is there should be some good equipment here, and even better, prisoners. Right now, we're not a mercenary yet. Right, we're not working for anybody. That's our fucking first significant battle, and we're getting some upgrades that we can afford at least. I think you take everybody prisoner. At least we can sell them to the ransom broker, right? We need money, something fierce early in a campaign. Shield. And it's already gnarly difficult. What do we got going on here? I won't do too much equipment in front of you fellas. We're clearly going to have to do some editing in this campaign, but we're already experiencing some adrenaline rushes early on in this campaign. Of course, if we get seen right now, we're going to have to just run to the castle and pray they let us in. The deserters, and that's a whole nother added difficulty layer here, right? We can't handle 30, 40 deserters. I don't even know if I can handle 30 looters, right? We're going to have to very methodically upgrade this force and probably suffer a lot doing it, right? And we need a companion. Where can we get a companion? We can go to Valend or whatever this is. And I got to be careful with this fast forward button. We're going to run right into deserters. All right, here we go. Let's exploit the shit out of the spice vendor guy here. They exploited us for spice prices for hundreds of years. We're going to exploit this guy here. River warrior. Everything is foreign. All right. Welcome to the party. Take your clothes off. Here we go. We're going to take all this guy's shit. I have no inhibitions about doing this. We're not going to do stealth, right? I'm just not a fan of stealth. And so you hire a guy for 400 and then immediately take all the guy's clothes and you make several hundred, right? We're going to do that every single time in this campaign. Now, this guy's not going to be very valuable to us in this campaign anyways. We might just dump this guy by the roadside. And in a way, it's exploitive, but that's all right. In the early going on in a campaign, things are so difficult that I don't actually have a problem with quasi-exploits, especially when we're doing nightmare assails, right? I'm not going to retreat. We're not going to shoot at the enemy from the edge of the map and then retreat right before they get to us. We're not going to do that level of exploit. But anything shy of that, just about, right? We're going to be willing to take some advantages here on our foes. Lord knows we're giving them advantages, right? Nightmare sales is brutal hard. And early going to the most important thing, of course, is not getting captured. Now, let's see if this guy will increase our capacity of troops. A lot of times these guys, the spice vendors and shit like that, they're used to keeping records, so they make good quartermasters, right? He's at least a better quartermaster than our main character. Our main character can't add. He's illiterate. And at some point or other, we get a crossbow bolt, right? We're definitely going to try to work on some of these other skills. All right. We're starting to feel, I'm starting to feel a little bit brash, right? We're looking for something to put our boot on. And again, oh, here we go. We got a sand strider. We'll take them all, right? All these Aserai looking units. You're into our party. Sold. And now take your clothes off. What's the ship? They're super cheap. RHODOK tribesmen. Isn't that the... It is. So you can buy the tier 1 from the... I don't think we're going to do that, but that's interesting for sure. Let me see here. It's tempting to keep these. Now, we are playing with the host of the other mods that come with the Nightmare Sales package, and one of them, it doesn't allow you to keep units like this in your army for very long, right? I can go recruit some Battanians. Just like that, we can have up to 39. I can go recruit Battanians, but they won't stay very long, right? That's basically just a symptom, or more accurately, a feature, if you call it such, of the campaign, right? It's built into it so that you can't keep guys. You can't, build a perfect army of Fiend champions and Nord Huskarls and Valandian banner knights and stuff like that. You've got basically this inability to use cultural troops from other kingdoms, and I'm just fine with that, right? We're not too worried about having a mostly RHODOK force. It's kind of nice on a role-playing level. Now, get off your horse. Is this guy on a horse too? No horses here, lads. You guys get to fight on the ground like the rest of the men. And I guess at some point or other, maybe we give these guys slings, right? We've got slingers in our army. So maybe that'll be something that we invest in at some point. I'm starting to feel a little bit brash here, right? We're up to 33 units. I can take on 28 looters now, right? We're eager to find some looters. And of course, we'll probably fight a battle or two against looters, and then I'll play for a bit, and we can skip some of the more dull spots for you fellas. I'll probably have to do a few tournaments here, right? Okay, this guy. When they run from you, that's good, right? We like it when troops run from us. This guy's gonna try to steal some of our thunder here. It seems like there's a lot of deserters early on. It could just be my imagination. But it seems early in this campaign that there's a lot of deserters. Usually deserters are the remnants of, you know, of big battles. And look at the power bar, right? That's not a good sign that the power bar is almost equal here. What the hell are we dealing with here? It's deserters. There are 9 ranged units there. Sharpshooter, seafarer, hardened crossbow. Yikes. So we want some kind of terrain to take advantage of, and there isn't much. But you know what you can use? You can use rocks. Come here, lads. 1st, 2nd division. Let's see what we can do here with these rocks. I hide behind them here like it's an active shooter situation. I'm gonna show you fellas what you do for active shooters medieval style. Oh shit, there's guys coming in, and on the fastest speed my character got dropped instantly. And we're getting couch lance before we can even get to our location here. Alright, so this is infantry. Let's tuck against the rocks here. And we're getting hit. I don't even know where it's coming from. Yeah, get that shit out of here. Good job, lads. Beat them knights to death. Yeah, so if you got lots of active shooters coming at you, right, you hunker down, and then as soon as they're close, you rage around the corner on them. What can we get here? I can take a shield. Here comes the dudes here. So I like this, right? There's like 3 of them coming in against 20 of us, right? Might makes you right, you bitches. And if you know, it's an active shooter, you and your 12 lads or your 12 college friends or whatever, you all beat the shit out of them, throw your staplers at them, and whatever else you can, right? You zerg the shit out of them, and everybody charge here, right? We've got a zerg basically on these handful of guys, and I did 6 damage with that guy. Where are their crossbow here? They're around the corner. Okay. That looks good. Then our slingers are doing their thing. We're also getting shot. Do we have any spears over here? I hope the other side, the troops get there, because we're going to get gunned down just trying to get close here. We'll hold fire. Get your asses up here. Ugh. Get in there, lads. 7 on 6, 7 on 10, something like that. You guys fucking get their attention. I'll stab them from behind. And every battle in this campaign is going to be brutal. You can already tell. Might makes right. And RHODOK power on you bitches. With our river hunter and spearmen and stuff like that. And another Pyrrhic victory, of course. 18 casualties as our forces go to Valhalla in large shuttles. Now, it's another big batch of prisoners here, right? And so I think net we're making money, but we're leaving a lot of blood behind us, too. Now, what are we going to do here for troops? We got these guys turn into, what is this, a warden? Look at this shit. So they're high-level slingers, and he's a mariner. So you want to talk about unique, right? We're going to have tier 4, tier 5 slingers in this campaign. Tier 5 crossbow. And it is wild. So let me think here. We want to do some crossbow. You know, ranged weapons still are dominant in Bannerlord, but, you know, I will say Jarl Snow edited this, right? The crossbow and archers were weakened for nightmare sales. Now this is gem, right? This is why you're fighting deserters, because we just got rich, right? I can't even wield this crossbow. It's so expensive. So what do you do with it? Most of the shit you sell, right? We'll go straight to the merchants and sell this shit. Our little companions here, we're not giving them any good equipment initially, right? We need this money. And so I might keep this arbalest, because that's a crossbow I can potentially use, and then I don't have to buy it. But obviously we're not keeping any of those fancy throwing axes. We need it for troops, right? We're obviously going to leave a trail of bodies everywhere our army goes early in this campaign, and there's just no way that we can afford to have it tied up in some expensive throwing axes. That's some dipshit spice dude with 12 throwing skill is going to, you know, throw throwing axes into the dirt while we get mauled. That's just not good strategy, right? So let's see what we do here. Maybe we fight another battle or two, and then we'll do some editing kind of behind the scenes here. We want to keep these episodes lively. We want to keep you guys interested. But at the same time, it's such a unique mod with so many new changes that if I don't show you Like, I'm gonna save here first, but what's this city look like, right? Is this city different? Are there new city layouts for this? Probably not, but who knows, right? We got artwork here for the mod. We've got new weapons, new types of units galore. We're getting a sunburn. We've got 0 SPF. And nah, I think that is a vanilla city, right? A vanilla. You disappoint me, Jarl Snow, and of course I just, right? There's only so much changes he's going to be able to make. I'd love to fight in a tournament, but we don't have the health to do it, so let's go look for some more deserters here. Let's get our lads some food. Let's sell some of this shit. We don't want to get captured with thousands of dollars worth of loot on hand. And eventually we'll give these companions some good gear, but not while we're broke, right? Not yet. Money is the priority. We're going to buy lots of olives. We're getting our omega-3 here in large doses. And that's good. We just made 4,000, right? That definitely helps. And that's more troops. I'll go over the minimum, right? In this campaign, I've got no problem going well over the minimum, because if we can corner troops, then we can do what we've been doing so far and beat them down with might makes right. We're going to get deserters. That's okay. We're also going to have a lot of losses on a regular basis. So these guys are cheap. 20 each. I don't mind running 10, 12 over. This is a technique that we've been sharing on our channel for a while, and I'm going to continue to share it because I think it works. If you're fighting 26 looters, 28 looters, and you have 49 units, you're much more likely to succeed. So get these looters cornered here at sunrise. You guys have until sunrise. We're going to hang you in the morning before the night is done. We'll do some 310 to Yuma here on these veteran slingers. All right. Maybe 1 or 2 more looter battles here, and then we'll come back at clan tier 1. Obviously, we want to be a mercenary, right? We want to join the Rhodoks here right away against the Valandians, but you can't just barrel into it, right? And is our whole line slingers? Every single guy there looked like they loaded up. So I think even our tier 1 guys have slings, which is wild, right? In fact, if they do, let's go ahead and use this little defile here. There's a little narrow defile that the looters have to charge through. That means that all these guys here can drill them with their slings. And then we have 13 Rhodoks in that division. Now, I can't use my spear here. Let's see. I can use it probably with... No, I can't use it no matter what, unless I'm on foot, right? So we're going to use our spear more in this campaign, but I guess we got to use it on foot. And I've heard about them, right? I've heard they're pretty badass, but they're going to be hyper vulnerable to ranged weapons here, right? Half the units in the game, it seems like, have throwing weapons. They're firing throwing axes at us left and right here. Have some of those looters. Have a boot. And until we get some armor and a good understanding of how to use the pikes, we're going to get blasted. Now this guy, this must be a companion because he has no slings. Well, all right. It's a good start for us here. It's a beautiful start. We got some sun. And at least we're rounding up looters so far in this campaign. Of course, you guys can always leave feedback, right? Do you guys want to see a lot more battles with the Rhodoks? Do you want to see us go in a certain direction? You want to see us go more pikes? We're definitely going to do pike and shot. As a fan of war history, of war tactics, I know quite a bit about the Spanish system and the Spanish tercios of the 14th, 15th century. Of course, we don't have arquebusts, right? We don't have guns, but slings and spears will probably work pretty well on this campaign. And before too long here, we're going to be participating in some of these battles against the Valandians. Now, it's nightmare sales, so the difficulty here is through the roof here, right? Your Valandian forces are going to be brutal. Cavalry is already pretty good when it's tier 4 and tier 5, but nightmare sales, they're elevated strong, right? Like they're even stronger than normal. So I think here we're slowly making our way. And I guess I got to use a practice crossbow to get to that skill, right? I don't even have the baseline skill to use it to get to 20. Right? I got a crossbow that requires 20 skill to use. Obviously, you can't level it up. Maybe I could do some practice fighting or something like that. Yeah. We've got a patrol here. I can't fight because I'm unconscious, so... Okay, that's a good result for us. And a bunch of prisoners, so we'll sell some prisoners here, and... I'm just trying to think if I want to include any more footage here. I guess we got that tournament. I can go look like a dumbass in a tournament here. But with me getting knocked unconscious like every other battle, that's certainly not going to make tournaments easy to fight. We're definitely going to have a hard time with a full health bar, much less half a health bar here. Uh-oh, the dog needs to go for a walk. And it's tempting, right, to let these guys get captured, but we can help here. And it also, you know, it shows one of the hardest things in the early game. Until you get some of the medicine skills where you get hit points recovered from each battle, it's so hard to recover hit points. In fact, let's keep punching our medicine skill. We got to get to this perk at least. 30% recovery of lost hit points after each battle. That way, if you get knocked to 0, the next battle, at least you get to participate. Right now, we don't even get to participate, right? We just auto-resolve our way through. So we can get some fast renown this way, but our character is not going to get levels at all doing this shit. And got some quests here. I guess we could send companions on 28%. If I get to 50, 60%, we'll do that tournament there. There doesn't seem to be a lack of targets. I remember that from our other Nightmare sales. The early game in Bannerlord, a lot of times there's hardly any targets. You're running all over the map to find units. And it seems like in Nightmare sales, there's an increase of the amount of troops that are deserters and looters and sea raiders. And of course, as soon as I say that, there's not one for days here. I guess we can run here to this tournament and participate. Unless it's already moved on. Almost like the fair, right? The tournament eventually moves on. Man, that's just expensive. What prisoners? We can get paid a lot of money here for some prisoners. I guess we dump some of these prisoners. We're moving too slow. Now, some of these looters are recruitable units, like definitively. And I don't mean like you can recruit them, like you want to recruit them. Like tier 3, look at this guy. He's got a whole bunch of kitchen knives, right? Some of these looters are... they're pretty usable in Nightmare sales, and indeed the arena has moved on. Let's go to the other city here. Let's catch some deserters on the way there. We're plodding along here too, though. I got to be careful not to run into 40 deserters, though. Otherwise, we're going to get mauled. Those guys are stealing our thunder. Yeah. I wonder if we can do the escort caravan quests, right? That's the kind of quest we need here. We need quests that lead us into combat. Otherwise, you just run around hemorrhaging 183 gold a day. I'll tell you, though, that beats the shit out of being captured, right? In the early going, especially with Nightmare sales, you fellas that are playing this, trying to essentially enjoy the same brutal experience we are, make sure you take the early going with the, you know, with a little ounce of caution, right? The world is hazardous, right? These deserters can't wait to drink from our skull. They're considering it, that's for sure. If we get like one more deserter, these guys might engage us. I wonder if we have any chance against 2 bands of deserters. It's highly perilous to do this shit. It's 38. Let's see what fucking happens. Some knight with all kinds of cavalry and shit like that. And yikes. Buckle up.
See if we've got some terrain, and it's just the kind of terrain we need here, right? Really good terrain. Doesn't guarantee victory, though, anything but. Water is pretty damn good, though, especially deep water, long stretches of water. Most of our units are ranged units, right? They're going to have ranged units as well, and once their knights get to us, it's going to be a problem because they'll start spearing us, and slingers getting speared. It's not going to go so well, but water is your friend in Bannerlord. The AI, quite frankly, doesn't know how to use water. We do, so we're going to sit here right at the edge of the water. You got to be wary of cavalry getting behind you, though, too, right? If the cavalry get behind you and start charging you from land onto water, then you lose your advantage. And I'm going to try to intercept these guys here before they flay all these troops. Just want to put myself out here and say, I'm over here, you bitches. Attack me, not our poor Got our poor slingers, and then drill them, boys, right? And they can hopefully handle those two guys. And it doesn't take me much, man. I take a spear, and my character is almost dropped. And if these guys can't sling guys that are barely moving, we got a problem. Sling them. There you go, boys. Dropped him. I can beat up a horse. That's about all I can do in this campaign. Until we get a lot more comfortable fighting with our spear, we're going to get our asses kicked in this campaign on a regular basis. As our slingers go to work here. Let's try to draw some fire. What is this here? They got crossbow? Is that what I'm looking at? They got crossbow and slingers of their own. Have some of this, you bitches. It takes me 12 seconds to swing. All right, I'm going to hit this guy. Swing now. Oh, we got him. You got to swing way in advance of when you're actually going to hit the guy. And our guys WWF trash talking. They've got more crossbow up the hills. That's actually a benefit for us because those guys are a long ways away. And I probably should stick with one-handed here early on. We're hitting a lot of shields here. And they got spears now coming down. Yikes. But this is a pretty good standoff for us, right? And our slingers are flinging pretty good. And let's go ahead and charge at these guys. There's some guys that either are low on ammo early on here or out of ammo. Let's get them up here using their little hatchets. And we can do some more might makes right. I got speared right across the face. And eventually we're going to have the armor and the equipment and the familiarity with it to use our spear. Right now it feels like a huge liability for me. I don't have a shield, and so if you're using a spear, you're gonna have to attack from cover or something to that effect, right? I can't use it on a horse. I can't get off my horse because these guys will just laugh at my attempts. So in the short term, I might be better off getting a one-handed polearm and leveling up my skill that way, right? At least then you can use a shield. Quite comfortable with a one-handed polearm. But I can't even use this polearm on a horse, right? So that's a problem. And I think these guys here are actually a liability. Let's move them forward. The water here is actually serving to help the enemy at this stage because we're trying to close. And they're trudging in that water. one damage. I hit that guy with the handle. Now we're in trouble. Thanks, lads. Let's do this shit. Let's end this battle here. Should be pretty quick. I think we can win. Maybe, maybe not. Gotta be brutal if we lost this battle. Another Pyrrhic victory for us in this campaign as we grind down our enemy. And this campaign to start, our rise of the Rhodoks, right? The comeback of the Rhodoks. So far, it's very difficult and very bloody, but we're moving along here step by step. We're gaining some skill points. I'm going to go find myself a spear. The more I think about it, the more sense it makes. At least we're getting hordes of deserter prisoners, right? That's going to be very valuable. Find ourselves a nice little city. Once we hit the mercenary stage, we're definitely going to start piling up some good resources. And that's nice, right? We can put that right there because eventually we're going to have a crossbow on this character, of course. If you want to see more from this campaign, all the normal things I say at this stage. You want to subscribe, please hit that like button. Of course, if you want to pick up this mod, the video link, let me say that again. For some reason I can't say that today. The mod link should be in the video description. And again, thanks to Jarl Snow for bringing the Rhodoks back to Bannerlord. Of course, this campaign continues. We'll try to create 2-3 episodes a week. Depends on the interest. If you guys hit that like button, there's more likely to be more episodes. Leave some comments, all the good stuff I normally say. And I will see you, friends, next time.